Concerning public comment will be solicited during each actionable agenda item. Once I ask for public comment on a specific item, please click Raise Hand and go to Webinar in order to make public comment. Before being individually identified, all members of the public will be muted. Village staff will announce the speaker by stating their name and unmute their audio to allow up to 3 minutes of public comment. When called, please state your name and address for the record and proceed with your comment, speaking clearly during your allotted time up at the podium. Few additional notes: please limit background noise as much as possible. Do not use the chat or question functions in GoToWebinar, as these are not monitored during our meeting. Note this meeting can be viewed live on Comcast Channel 18 or streamed at www.royalpalmbeach.com/YouTube. Now, if everyone please join me and stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Mitty, we did say we're going to start with the local area? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Lauren, will you do roll call, please? Or Christina? I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
Chairman David Leland,
Here.
Vice Chairwoman June Perrin,
Here.
Commissioner Adam Miller, Commissioner Philip Marquis,
Here.
Commissioner Ray Nazareth, Laura McClellan, alternate 1. Here.
Okay, and then I need to get an approval for minutes from the April 26th meeting.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes of the April 28th meeting.
I'll make a motion to second that.
26th meeting, I just want to correct that. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have one item tonight, application number 22-19, the comp plan text amendment. Tuttle Royale MXS, the applicant, Urban Studio, Design Studio, is requesting a comprehensive plan text amendment to create an entirely new future land use designation. The Mixed Use Social Center, MXS, future land use designation.
No, I don't need to swear you in, Lindsay, but could you just state your name for the record?
Lindsay Jean Lewis with Urban Design Studio for the record.
Thank you.
If I get the share screen. Okay, good evening. The applicant is proposing an amendment to the village's comprehensive plan's future land use element to add an entirely new mixed-use social center land use designation to allow for large-scale 40-plus acre mixed-use projects that would include both residential and non-residential uses integrated in a vertical rather than horizontal manner. The proposed MXS design would allow for non-residential uses, office with a minimum FAR of 0.04 and a maximum FAR, that's floor area ratio, of 0.09. Non-residential use retail service, minimum floor area ratio of 0.22 and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.31. Residential use, minimum FAR of 0.25 and a maximum FAR of 0.33. Structured parking, minimum FAR of 0.43 and a maximum of 0.59. Total minimum floor area ratio of 1.0 and maximum FAR of 1.2. These FARs are to ensure these mix of uses at these ratios. The overall density would be 10 units per acre. Mass transit or multimodal facilities may be included within the project site or within an adopted plan to be located within a half a mile of the mass transit or multimodal facility. The intent of the amendment is to create, excuse me, a future land use designation that allows for innovative and urban mixed-use developments that provide integrated, vibrant, compatible, and complementary uses within a single development. This future land use designation allows for greater intensities and densities that would otherwise be permissible in typical zoning allowances. Should this amendment be approved and adopted by Village Council, the applicant proposes to develop a new mixed-use social center zoning district category, which will address the land development standards in greater detail. Staff requests a recommendation of approval be submitted to Village Council regarding application number 22-19 and ordinance 1028. And with that being said, I'll turn the floor back over to you, Chairman. Thank you.
Do you have a presentation for us tonight?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commissioners. Again, Lency Jean-Louis with Urban Design Studio on behalf of Main Street at Tuttle Royale LLC. And we are requesting the following, which is a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment to request the introduction of a new future land use category, which is the Mixed-Use Social Center, also known as the MXS. So to put into context what we're requesting today, the mixed-use social center will allow larger scale, vibrant, contextually appropriate mixed-use developments at strategic locations in the village of Royal Palm Beach. This will be a vehicle for economic development and employment generation in the village. It will also create pedestrian-oriented developments where uses are integrated to create an enhanced activity center in the western communities. And similar mixed-use centers that you might see around the county are Abacoa, which is in Jupiter, Florida, the Square, which is in downtown West Palm Beach, Meisner Park, which is in Boca Raton, Alton, which is in Palm Beach Gardens, Harborside Place in Jupiter, and Uptown Boca in Boca Raton. But all of these mixed-use centers are more than 5 miles away from residents of the village of Royal Palm Beach. So the addition of this new future land use designation will allow a local in proximity to Royal Palm Beach possibility for entertainment, cultural opportunities, community gatherings, and other valued amenities that these mixed-use centers offer, but for village residents. So as you can see here, we have downtown Abacoa. You see the new urbanist principles where the buildings are lining the streets. We have the street trees, the amphitheater for local residents to enjoy. We have the Square in West Palm Beach, which is an economic mainstay of downtown. It's been in existence for more than 20 years, and although it's gone through its remodels, it's still a primary landmark for the city. And similarly to the Square, we have Meisner Park, which is also a landmark to Boca Raton, and you see that open thoroughfare area with the public green space and the landscaping along the retail strip. And we are intending in our future land use category 2 to ensure that we have public open space and uses that front it. We have Alton and Palm Beach Gardens, which is a newer mixed use development with the needed residential added to support those retail uses. Harborside Place in Jupiter, which is on the water, has an amphitheater similar to Abacoa, and again, it's a amenity for the city of Jupiter for those residents to enjoy. And Uptown Boca, which is quite possibly the newest mixed-use development of this sort of style, and it's really showing that industry trend that's being populated throughout South Florida, residents being able to enjoy a place where they can live, work, and play. So There's an existing mixed-use development district in the village of Royal Palm. That's the mixed-use development MXD future land use category. This max density is 5 dwelling units an acre with a max FAR between commercial and office of 0.082. But as of today, there's only been one development to utilize this MXD, and that was the Cypress Key Development. And this was approved in 2005. As far as the MXS that we're proposing, this is to produce a product that's more indicative of larger mixed-use centers as shown with the Abacoa, Alton, Harborside Place. And this is gonna allow the multifamily, the retail, the entertainment uses, the office uses, where again, residents can live, work, and play, but at higher densities and intensities that allow that. So as you can see, the proposed maximum density for the MXS will be 10 dwelling units an acre. And although this is higher than the existing MXD district, this is actually not exceeding the highest density permitted in the village of Royal Palm Beach, and that would be 14 dwelling units an acre as seen in the multifamily high designation. And the maximum FAR will be 1.2 and the minimum will be 1 to ensure that those uses all work in harmony together. Now to get into the actual comprehensive plan text, I'm going to set up the definition of the mixed-use social center. And that's a future land use designation that's intended to allow for large-scale, innovative, and urban mixed-use developments that provide integrated, vibrant, compatible, and complementary uses within a single development. This future land use designation allows for greater intensities and densities than otherwise would be permissible in typical zoning allowances. However, the increased density allowed through the MXS district does not exceed the highest density currently permitted in the village of Royal Palm Beach future land use categories. So as the village grows and more residents seek to make this their place of habitants, this MXS will allow for the much needed housing supply to add to the existing single family townhomes and multifamily homes that you see in the village of Royal Palm Beach. And this will also allow the mixed uses to provide a scalable effort to really make these walkable and bikeable communities and provide a community with authenticity through those mixed uses as opposed to the suburban sprawl of subdivided land and inefficient land use. And to get more into the text, we are really including, making sure that we include residential, commercial, office, and public open space so that, again, all those uses operate in unity. And through discussions with staff, we also confirmed that we would exclude non-residential uses over residential uses to ensure that that vertical mix is limited to retail on the ground floor. And we are also ensuring that we have well-designed, usable public spaces and that any MXS development is designed with appropriate pedestrian connectivity. And the compatible zoning district, when we do come in for the time of proposing the new zoning district, that will be the MXS, which will be the compatible district, similarly to how the MXD is the compatible zoning district for the MXD future land use designation. The MXS district will have to be site-specific when coming in with it. And we are confirming that there will be frontage on at least one major arterial road as defined by the village comprehensive plan, or being a part of an overall master plan that has frontage on 2 major arterial roads. And lastly, we have the affected area, which shall be a minimum of 40 acres and a density which will be based on a maximum of 10 dwelling units an acre of the gross acreage of that total project site. And here we have the FARs listed between non-residential, residential, structured parking, and the FAR that would be permitted for the total site. And again, standalone entertainment or retail uses, they won't be viable without the critical mass of the residential in proximity. So with this, we're ensuring that we're integrating the immersive uses as a destination that combine entertainment, recreation, retail, and residential. So again, that residents have a place where they can live, work, and play. And we also discussed with staff that open space shall be provided at no less than 20% of the total project site, and that as any potential mixed-use social center development occurs or gets developed, that either within the site or within a half mile of the site that we provide mass transit or multimodal facilities for potential connections down the line. That concludes my presentation. Again, staff recommended approval for this request, so we are definitely open to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina, do we have anybody online?
Nope, nobody's online.
Do we have anybody here, any public comment about this item? Can I go to the commissioners? Any questions? Philip?
I don't have anything right now.
June?
No, I don't have any questions, but I like to say that it does look like you've done your planning, and hopefully it will be as successful as some of those other areas have been. Okay?
Thank you.
Lauren?
All right, sorry, I have a question. I guess it's mainly for Bradford. How come we don't want to max out the density? Like, why are we limiting it to 10 units per acre? Why not increase it to 14?
That is what the applicant requested, was the 12 units to the acre. And we were comfortable with that density. That's really the reason. Yeah, I'm sorry, 10 units to the acre. Did I say 12? All right, no, 10 units to the acre.
All right. I mean, I was just thinking that if it's gonna be available to the whole village, why not max out? Like, I understand the applicant is here, they only want 10, but why not max out and give them up to 14 and really have a good possible mixed-use project? I mean, most of the mixed-use projects that I'm familiar with, their density is way higher than.
Right, I would agree with that.
Just a thought.
And you certainly can make that part of your motion, as you know, the recommendation that goes forward to a council. That's what I would,
Well, then I ask you, would you like to make a motion?
I mean, I just think that we should make it more intense and really make it a mixed-use viable project that would, that, I mean, not necessarily for, for this.
The applicant would love that motion.
I mean, I just know mixed-use projects, like, they're intense, and I think, I welcome that, and I think that that's a good thing to have to make it a good project. So I would give the option to allow for the same maximum density that the village would allow
Right.
at 14.
And I think that when we were coming to this conclusion, or the landing spot of 10 units to the acre, we were also taking into consideration the other 393 unit project, the other 385 unit project, and then the 365 unit project, and then the 100 unit project that is within a quarter mile of this property.
I understand that, but for the land use text change, I think, like, maybe not for that project, maybe it's not appropriate for 14 units per acre for that specific project.
Right.
But if we're doing a comp plan text change, I think that we should allow the ability to go up to a maximum of 14 units per acre, and then it can be back down on a project by project basis. Just my thoughts.
What are your thoughts on that, Bradford? Is that going to make it too dense if putting it up to 14? I mean, they're only requesting 10. There must be a reason why they're only requesting 10 instead of the 14. Because, like you said, you have all those other things going on over there also.
Right.
Yeah, and we don't want to make it too crowded. How will that impact us?
Well, the way that it would impact this project is it would make it more dense. That's the
it.
obvious
Yeah.
answer, without going into a big analysis of it. That's the simple answer of it. But if, again, you want to make the motion to, for the council to consider 14 units to the acre, this is where we landed, was the 10 units to the acre. That's certainly part of, the recommendations that you can make to our council.
Can I ask one question? Do you have
Absolutely.
a plan to come back later on to increase it from the 10 to the 14?
Yeah, so we're actually coming back the 16th for the first reading for village council, and we also be coming in for the zoning text amendment at that time to get the clarifications on
But
that
but
density.
just so you're clear, what she's asking is if you're coming back to increase the density, and I think the answer is no to that,
Oh,
correct?
Okay, no.
No, not to increase the density.
No.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would make a motion to, because this is a comprehensive plan text amendment, not specific for this project, but to a change to the comprehensive plan, that it should be, it should consider a maximum density similar to what the maximum density is in the village of 14 units per acre.
And just so the record is clear, your motion is to approve, because this is applicant driven, your motion is to approve application 22-19 with the condition that the village council consider
Yes.
an increased density to 14.
Thank you, Mitty.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second.
Jim?
Not in favor. I like to keep it at the 10 because they know what they're doing.
All right,
Mr. Chair,
so-
you have a motion and a second on the floor, so call for roll call.
So, all those in favor?
If you could do roll call. Have Christina do roll call, please.
Chairman David Leland,
No.
Vice Chair Jim Perrin,
No.
Philip Markey, Laura McClellan.
Yes.
So the motion does not carry. You have a tie vote. So are there any other motions on the to be heard?
I'll make a motion on application number 22-19 to approve it as is.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
You got your way.
Thank you.
Okay, so that will be the end of business for our local planning agency meeting. So I will call an adjournment on that, and we'll go right into our planning and zoning meeting. Christina, you want to call roll again, just to be safe?
Sure. Chairman David Leland,
Present.
Vice Chair Jim Perrin,
Present.
Commissioner Adam Miller, Commissioner Philip Markey,
Present.
Commissioner Ray Nazareth, Laura McClellan, alternate 1.
Present.
Okay. All right. Again, welcome, everybody. Rules are the same. I'd like to get an approval of the minutes from the May 24th. If someone could make a proposal for that?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the 24th meeting.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved from the May 24th meeting.
Wake up.
Let's get to our first item. First thing we have on the agenda is application number 22-27 AAR, South Florida Foot and Ankle. The applicant, Sole Source LLC, South Florida Foot and Ankle Center, is requesting architectural approval to change the paint color of the exterior building and monument sign, along with the color of the letters on the building to match the existing monument sign face, for a property located at 11412 Okeechobee Boulevard. So, Mitty?
Do we have an applicant present? Can you ladies approach the podium and state your names for the record?
Jessica Mendieta.
Beth Altman.
And I need to swear you in. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. Can you raise your right hands for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll turn back to the commission and ask if there are any ex parte disclosures on this item. Thank you.
Okay, great. The applicant is requesting architectural approval to paint the existing building, monument sign, and wall sign for a property located at 11412 Okeechobee Boulevard. The color assignments for the building and signs, which include a dark shade of blue for the wall sign and light shade of beige for the building and monument sign color. Staff is recommending approval. Here you can see on this slide here some of the before and afters. And again, staff is recommending approval, and I'll turn the floor back over to you, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a presentation for us, or we're just,
We don't know.
I might add that the buildings, you're going to paint the whole building, right?
The whole building.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. All right, do we have any public comments, Christina? I mean, online?
Nobody's online.
Any public comments in here? Boy, we're getting skimpy in here, aren't we? Okay, no public comments either, so can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve application 22-7 as is.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You get out of here early.
Thank you.
Okay, you good? Next item, we have application number 21-81, SVAR, City Mattress at Coral Sky. The applicant, Glenn Weldon and Associates, is requesting a sign variance from section 20-60 to allow for a 198.33 square foot wall sign, where village code allows for only 90 square feet, and to allow for a 14.94 square foot cabinet sign, where village code allows a maximum of 10 square feet, for a property located at 390 State Road 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your name for the record, sir?
Glenn Weldon.
Thank you, sir. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll turn back to the commission and ask if there are any ex parte disclosures on 21-81. Thank you.
Okay, great. The applicant is requesting a variance from section 2060 to allow for a 198.3 square foot wall sign where village code allows for a 90 square foot sign. Section 2064, which regulates sign permitted in the general commercial zoning district, states that the allowable front wall sign area for each building shall not exceed 1 square foot per linear foot of bay frontage length. As the building frontage is 90 feet, the maximum sign area is 90 feet. A variance is also requested to allow for a 14.98 square foot cabinet sign where village code prohibits cabinet signs in excess of 10 square feet. The applicant asserts that City Mattress has the same basic facade area as the other inline tenant, yet is penalized with significantly smaller wall-mounted identity due to the restrictions imposed by the current sign code, coupled with the 1,818-foot or quarter-mile setback from State Road 7, and is obscured by landscaping and the outparcel building for most of the viewable frontage, and the sign is virtually invisible to the traveling public. Village code, here are the signs here and the ones that he's comparing his sign to. Village code allows for the granting of variances when special conditions and circumstances exist, do not result from the actions of the applicant, will not confer on the applicant any special privilege. A literal interpretation of the provisions of this division would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties. The minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the division and will not be injurious to the area involved or detrimental to the public welfare. Based on the information provided, village staff does not support the two variance requests, as his granting of the request would confer special privileges denied to other businesses in similar circumstances. No special conditions and circumstances are applicable to the subject property. And the request is needed due to the actions of the applicant and desire a larger sign area than allowed, given the applicable regulations. A sign proportional to the tenant space could be accommodated on the building frontage without the granting of the requested variance. And it's important to note that the distance from State Road 7 is approximately 500 feet, or 0.1 or 1/10 of a mile, not a quarter mile. And staff requests a recommendation of denial to be submitted to Village Council regarding application 2181. With that being said, Chairman, I'll turn the floor back over to you. Thank you.
I assume you have a presentation for us?
I do. I'm kind of humbled based on what came here before. I have some paper copies of the submittal. Does anybody want a paper copy of this?
No.
Okay. Thank you, staff, for your due diligence. So we represent City Mattress. They've been in business for over 58 years. They have over 30 locations in South Florida, on the west coast of Florida, also in New York and Michigan. So they've been an established company for a long time. The reason why we're here tonight for the variance request is, as city staff had explained, the criteria in the code states that the area of a wall sign shall include the entire area within a single contiguous perimeter composed of a square or rectangle which encompasses and encloses the extreme limits of all sign elements affixed to the wall, including but not limited to cabinet structures, written copy, logos, symbols, illustrations, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So this is an example to scale of the signage that exists out here at this location. And TJ Maxx and Michaels benefits from a larger sign because they don't have this here. And because the city's code says that we have to put a rectangle around everything, we have to count all this dead space. And when we count all this dead space, we come up with a sign that's significantly smaller than the other two tenants, even though our store, our frontage, is exactly the same size as the Michaels and almost the same size as TJ Maxx. If you took the area where TJ Maxx is without the build-outs, if we measured the Michaels and we measured the City Mattress, it's the exact same facade area. So even though Michaels has 108 linear feet and City Mattress has 90 feet and TJ Maxx has 186 feet, you can see that TJ Maxx and Michaels benefits from the determination of the square footage only because they don't have the descenders like City Mattress has. The second portion, I'm sorry? Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. The second portion of the variance is the cabinet sign. So under section 20-1, the definitions for the sign code, it says a box or a cabinet sign, any sign the face of which is enclosed, border, or contained within a box-like structure, frame, or other device. So that was one of the points that city staff brought up because of the logo for City Mattress is that red square. Also in the code, under wall signs, it says wall-mounted cabinet signs in excess of 10 square feet shall be prohibited, but wall-mounted signs in excess of 10 square feet shall be of channel type. So, again, I'm going to point back to this. If this was a circle, we wouldn't have to apply for a variance. If this was a triangle, or if it had a leg on it, or it had a pair of ears on it, it wouldn't be considered a cabinet sign. And also in the designation in the code, it says that all wall-mounted signs in excess of 10 square feet shall be of channel type. So the construction of the channel letters for City Mattress is the same construction as Michaels and TJ Maxx and all the other channel letters within the building, within this area. And it's the same with the logo. So the logo is the same channel type. So I don't know whether there was a semantics definition, but we wanted to make sure that when we presented tonight that our contention is if that was a circle, we wouldn't need a variance. And it is the channel. It's the same channel material, same thickness, same size, same manufacturing process, same illumination as the rest of the channels. You know, I remember years ago when the village of Royal Palm Beach was practically at the end of the world. We moved down from New Jersey in 1973, and one of the first places we wanted to go was Lion Country Safari, and it seemed like it took forever to get out to Lion Country Safari. And back at that time, everything in the city was teal green and pink, and they were box signs, they were cabinet signs. And since then, a lot has changed over the years. I mean, the city has grown. Years ago, there was a TD Bank on the corner. Before that, it was a hotel, and now it's a racetrack. And then you've got KFC. You've got a lot of growth happening. So our goal here for City Mattress is to have the same visibility as the other tenants do, as the other tenants enjoy. And the only reason for our variance is the fact that we feel that our sign could be bigger if we eliminated the dead airspace around there. So the literal interpretation of the code hurts us in that case. And that concludes my presentation for tonight. Thank you.
Christine, anybody online?
Nobody's online.
Would you like to comment?
If we could speak to some of the claims that the applicant has made.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just to clarify, and Bradford, please jump in if I'm wrong, but the red square, so by code, if it's not a letter, it's a cabinet sign. So it's not the shape of the red thing. It's the fact that it is not a letter. It is not a channel letter. I just want to make sure that that's clear, that's what the code distinguishes between a channel letter and a cabinet sign. So it's not necessarily the shape, it's what it is. In this case, it is a square and not a letter.
It's a channel.
And so when
it's a channel
when
logo.
the applicant contended that it would not be considered and it would be allowed if it was a triangle or circle with ears, those would be cabinet signs. And if those cabinet signs were greater than 10 square feet, they would not be allowed by code. Did you want to talk about
No,
this?
and that variance would be required. That's the same thing. And then the other thing is just Bradford, if you could explain how the area of the sign is calculated per code.
So now if you look at your screen, I have a slide up here. Now on this slide you have some dimensions. The applicant contended that the signs had similar store frontages. I just want to be clear on these store frontages. The TJ Maxx has a store frontage of 186 linear feet, allowing for 186 square feet. The applicant's sign, or their linear footage, is 90 feet, thus allowing for a 90-foot sign. Michael's, the linear feet is 106, thus allowing for 106 square feet. Now looking at the Michael's sign, I would also contend that the applicant argued that the dead space on City Mattress does not exist. On the other signs, I would contend that on Michael's, that dead space does exist. This is the only fair way to measure their square footage of a sign, is to draw a box around it. And if we didn't do that, and we just took the letter face for each letter, you would probably be allowed for smaller square feet to make up for that dead space in between letters. That's all I had to say.
Okay, now go to commissioners.
Can I answer or respond
Yes,
to
by all
Brandon?
means.
Thank you. Okay. So again, my contention that if this was a triangle, if it had ears on it, if it had lettering on it, it would be considered a logo, would it not? I mean, if it was a box. Wait a minute. Let me.
Oh, I thought you asked me a question.
No, I did. But if it was a red box with arches in it, then it would be considered a logo. It's not a cabinet. So that was our contention, that this is part of their national brand. It is a registered trademark. So with all registered trademarks for all corporations, this is part of their brand. So it's not just a cabinet. So it's literally part of the brand, just like the lettering and the style is part of the brand. That's all I wanted to say.
Would you like me to answer the question? Please. If it was a logo and it was not a channel letter, yes, that would be considered a cabinet sign.
So this is their logo and it is a channel letter.
I would point to the second channel letter. It's not a letter.
It's a
box.
Channel logo.
And logos are considered cabinet signs.
I mean, we've seen this come before us many times for this, and
Yes, sir.
It's not the village's fault that you have a smaller area to put your sign in. I mean, I personally have had to deal with this, as of many people in the village.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only way to keep it fair for everyone. I wholly agree with staff. These guys do their research. I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but I think it does give you an unfair signage size. And like I said, I know as a business owner in the village, I've had to contend with this myself. It's the only way to make it fair is to draw a box around it, as Bradford said, and then use the entire square footage. So I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but if you want to make a motion to accept this,
I have a question.
go ahead.
So Bradford, if they painted the box on the wall rather than having a logo, I know we kind of dealt with this for the chicken place.
KFC.
No, the new,
Yeah, chicken's out, the chicken, whatever.
yeah, the
I
thing
know
that
what
the thing
you're
that's over
talking
by
about.
the corner of Southern. So if they painted the square on the wall, would that be still included as part of the sign face area?
It would still be part of the sign face area. That is part of their commercial copy. It's not a sign band. It's part of their trademark logo.
Okay. And then the other question that I have is the sign code is 1 to 1.
Yes,
1
ma'am.
square foot to 1. Okay, so I did math.
1 linear per
Which
one.
is scary. It's really scary. So I did the whole building frontage, and I got roughly 394 linear feet for this that you have up. And then I did more math, still scarier. And then I came up with a total sign face area for the whole thing of 444. So I understand the 1 to 1 ratio for the bays. But this even exceeds the total what would be allowed for the building if it was just one project too.
This,
Too much.
right.
Like I said, I just wanted to make sure I was doing math right.
Yes, sir, you were. Congratulations.
Math is not my forte. But I do agree. I do agree with the chair that it's the way to keep things fair on a 1 to 1 basis per linear foot of the project.
Okay. So, any other comment, June?
No comments or questions? It was
Cool.
all addressed already.
All right, then, are we going to make a motion to approve this or to not deny it? And who's going to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we deny application number 21-81.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Before you take a vote, just so the record is very clear, the motion and the second are to deny. So an aye would be a denial, a nay would be not a denial, so an approval. So when you say all in favor, if you say aye, you're voting to deny the application.
Right.
Just want to be clear that you understand how to respond.
Okay, so all those in favor of the denial?
Aye.
Aye. Carries 4-0. 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and our last item on the agenda, which I would assume is this nice lady out in the audience, is application number 21-91 VAR 211 Las Palmas Street. The applicant, Miriam Pierre Lewis, is requesting a variance from section 26-79-4D to allow for a reduced rear setback of 5.04 feet for an existing gazebo where village code requires 20 feet, a variance of 14.96 feet for property located at 211 Las Palmas. Eddie?
Ma'am, could you approach the podium? Thank you, ma'am. Can you state your name for the record?
Miriam Pierre Lewis.
And this is the same as you've heard previously. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And I'll turn back to the commission and ask if there are any ex parte disclosures on this item.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Good
Yes,
evening
please.
again. The applicant is requesting a variance from section 2679 4D to allow for a reduced setback of 5.04 feet, where village code requires 20 feet, a variance of 14.96 feet. The applicant is requesting the variance to allow the placement of an existing gazebo that measures 12 feet by 12 feet for a property located at 211 Las Palmas Street. The location of the gazebo is shown here in red. The applicant asserts the gazebo is built within the property line. This permanent structure has been there for years and is not a substantial detriment to the neighborhood. Instead, it adds value and makes property more marketable. And these are the criteria for granting the variance. This is the same criteria as a previous application, so I'll spare everybody going through that again. Based on the information provided, village staff does not support the variance request, as the granting of the variance will confer special privileges. No special conditions and circumstances are applicable to the subject property. The request is in need due to actions of the applicant. In addition, the structure is located within an existing 20-foot drainage easement, and village staff does not support the location of the existing structure within the easement. Given the location of the existing improvements on the property, the placement of the subject gazebo could be accommodated on the lot without the granting of the variance request. Again, staff is recommending or requesting a recommendation of denial of application 2191. And with that being said, I'll turn the floor back over to you, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, I would assume you would like to speak to us.
Yes.
Okay.
I purchased the property in 2017, and I looked at a lot of properties. And one of the reasons that we picked that property is because of the gazebo and the shed to be able to have access and enjoy. Then 5 years later, code enforcement came to my door. Hey, you have a gazebo that's unpermitted. Had no idea, had no clue. Okay, I'll start the process. Only to find out that now it's, I guess it's built on a drainage easement. But my thing is, 10 feet is required by law on my property alone, total of 20 feet. The gazebo only occupies 4.96 feet, not the whole thing. There's still quite a lot of space to move around, be able to dig, God forbid something needed to be done. And I just truly enjoy the structure itself. I don't want to see it go. I love it. My family and I, it's part of the reason we purchased the property. We feel as if it's really unfair to be able to let that go. They've already requested I tear down the shed, which I did. I paid $1,800. I'm a state employee. I make about $2,000 a month. So even though they said financial hardship is not a big deal, but the cost that it would even cost me to get rid of the gazebo is a month's salary. Number two is something I enjoy that I don't want to see go. And number three, I understand the position of the city. I truly do. But it's not like I built it. This thing was already there. I just picked the wrong property to be able to enjoy something that, someone decided to build without a permit. And these people own the property from the 90s. So this thing has always been there. Unlucky me, I'm the one being cited and, being penalized. So I just want an opportunity to apply for a permit and keep the gazebo. I mean, as a grandfathered structure, it's not something I just decided to do. Everything I've done on my house, I've always gotten a permit to do. It's not like I just went out and built this on my own. It's just not fair.
You said the structure was existing when you bought the home.
Yes, sir.
We've
And
heard
it's an
that
old
many
structure, so it's been there a while.
And you bought the home when?
2017?
2017.
Yeah, 5 years.
Anybody online?
No.
Obviously, we have no further public comments, so I go to the commissioners. Any comment?
You know when it was built?
I have no clue. The due diligence wasn't done properly when I purchased the property. I have no idea. But it was there, along with a lot of other structures that we had to get rid of, an outdoor kitchen, a shed. Everything else is gone except the gazebo because we really want to keep it.
The gazebo, is it in good condition, or what is it made out of?
It's in great condition. It's concrete base, 2 big poles. I have a picture. I think I sent a picture to the city as well. It's been there for years. Nothing has happened throughout the hurricane since we've been there. It's in great shape. It's a permanent structure. It's not something that's going to be easy to even remove. And it has palm trees all around it, so that would be another destruction of all the the trees, in the yard and stuff to even attempt.
Bradford, so if the variance is granted, would it be a variance only for this gazebo, or would it be granted to allow something happen to the gazebo and it gets blown down, they have the ability to build the gazebo back?
Yes. The variance will run with the land.
You know, I have to say, we see this come before us a lot.
I hear it's a problem in the city itself, yes.
And, it's not in your case because it was something pre-existing, let's say, but it's becoming the habit of homeowners, it seems, to come and ask for forgiveness rather than do it right in the beginning.
Correct.
So even if we were to say no tonight, okay, you still can come before the village council and bring letters from your neighbors stating that they support you, that might help your cause. But I just want to throw that out there just for your information. This commission is charged with following code. And staff works their butts off to get things done right. So with that said, does someone want to make a motion to accept or deny this?
I have another question.
By all means.
So, is it possible to have a condition imposed on the project that would only apply to this specific structure? No.
No, legally you can't because the law on variances is that they run with the land. So to
Okay.
condition it, you're running afoul with the law.
Right.
Good thought, though. Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to approve application 2191 as is, since it's a standing structure that's been there for years.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I say nay. So,
Just so the record's clear, three
Three
yes and one nay. Thank you.
And
All right.
I would take the chairman's advice when you do go in front of village council, because you will be going in front of village council next month to get letters from your neighbors. That's one of the things that they ask for. And so you can present those. And when you get them, I would send them to us. That way we can put them in our report so that they have that information ahead of time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
okay, I guess we're done for the evening then, folks.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll agree with that.